Okay, it is 10:02. I'm gonna just go ahead and kick this party off. Again, my name is Ashley Young. I'm the Special Event Coordinator for the City of Tacoma, and I'm so happy you're here to learn about special event funding. This is my third year being here with the city, but this is the fifth year that this program has been going, and we're really happy to see how many amazing events that it supports in our community. I do have a guest host with me today, Gerald Ananuevo. He's our marketing coordinator. He's going to help me with the chat, some Q&A stuff. The chat feature is enabled, so please feel free to drop any questions as they come along, and we'll be sure to do a Q&A session at the very end. Again, I am with Tacoma Venues and Events as the special event coordinator. That is the department that oversees the operations of our city-owned buildings like the Dome and the Convention Center, but also it houses special event funding. Special event funding is distributed by our committee, the city's Events and Recognitions Committee, which is a volunteer group of representing citizens around the city of Tacoma from all 5 districts and the at-larges. They volunteer their time to help read all of these applications, score them, and then allocate funding to these amazing events that we have in the area. We're very grateful for the time and work and dedication that they put into participating in this program. And without them, we would not be able to do this in what we would feel is a very transparent and equitable way. So with that, I think I've stalled long enough to let as many people in as possible can come in. I will get going. Today, we're going to go over just a few areas as far as the application is concerned. We're going to go through the timeline, eligibility, requirements of the program itself. We're going to talk about budget requirements, additional criteria, and then finally how to apply. First is our timeline. Applications opened on June 30th. We are hosting 2 Q&A sessions, one of which you are currently at today. The other one will be on July 29th, and then applications close on August the 4th. Eligibility for this funding program. So in order to be able to apply for this funding, you need to be able to say yes to one of the following. Are you a nonprofit 501c3? Are you a city-recognized neighborhood business district? Are you a city-recognized neighborhood district council? Are you an organized group of community volunteers? Are you a nonprofit business? For-profit business, but wants to host an event that is outside of your typical business model? Are you an educational institution? Are you a federally recognized tribe or native group nonprofit? And sorry about that, but this is this the only contract that you're going to hold with the city of Tacoma in 2027? That says 2026. Threw me off for just a second. Sorry about that. All right. So if you say yes to just one of the following of those, you need to see what kind of applications will not be accepted. We will not accept applications from a single individual. It must come from a group of individuals, if that's the case. Funding cannot go towards scholarships or donations for individuals to attend your event. It cannot go towards political organizations or political candidates or their campaigns. It cannot go towards an organization that discriminates against any type of group. The programs cannot promote or endorse a specific religious affiliation. Only more than one application from an organization will not be accepted. Only one application will. So you cannot apply for more than one event at a time. And then we don't necessarily deny people that have received all the funding from City of Tacoma, but we do there may be instances in the future that may be an issue, and we just want to put that out there. So what are the requirements of the event in order for it to be eligible? The event activities must take place within the City of Tacoma. It must be free and open to the public. You must display that you have a $1 match with other resources. That can be cash, that can be donations, that can also be in-kind services. So say you're having a company donate their time or donate their products. We will accept that as a one-to-one as well. Your event must support activities that are fully accessible to all audiences and include individuals that have visible or non-visible disabilities. It must comply with the federal laws, state laws, city laws, including our non-discrimination and equal employment opportunity laws. Your organization will be required to have a City of Tacoma business license. You will agree to acknowledge the City of Tacoma and Tacoma Venues and Events in all of your promotional material, and we do supply you with the logos for that. You agree to allow us an opportunity to table at your event if that is applicable. Not all events allow for that, or that's not the right format for your event, but if it is something that you allow for, we would like the opportunity to table with you. And that you do, where relevant as well, apply for the Green Events program that our Environmental and Public Works Department offers, which is use of free or low-cost solid waste equipment, such as portable restrooms, hand washing stations, trash, and recycle. And then you agree to follow all of our contracting processes for the City of Tacoma, which, if I'm being fully transparent, is quite extensive, but we promise to help support you through it the whole way through. What are some examples of what funding can be used towards? Well, it can be used towards a lot of stuff, actually, such as professional services. That could be any staffing that you have to pay out in order to produce the event, whether it's hiring an event manager or security or performers. It can go towards traffic control devices or equipment. So say your event is a festival and it's in the street, you can use it towards barricades, traffic cones, instructional signs. It can go towards graphic design work, so posters, promotional materials, like website design, social media content, all that kind of stuff. Please use it towards that. And then there's a list of all kinds of other things that could be an option, like bounce houses or additional solid waste equipment. Basically, anything that allows your event to be operational, you're allowed to use this funding. There is a list of ways that you cannot use this funding. So any expenses that are outside of the direct cost of producing your event. General operating support for your organization, so like your salaries or benefits cannot be used towards that. It cannot be used towards charitable fundraisers, even if it's meant to benefit your event. It cannot be used for any form of fundraising. It cannot be used towards beer or liquor gardens. It cannot be used for any debt services that you have, even if it's a debt service for the event. It cannot be used for any political activities. And it cannot be used towards payment towards any City of Tacoma employees or any members of the committee that works on this funding program. When you submit your application, we do ask that you provide a budget. This is the template that you will use. It is a requirement that you use this template and not any other template. There's about anywhere between 40 to 80 applications that can come through in a year, and we try to make it really easy for our volunteer committee members to read the budget comprehensively in a very efficient way, rather than learning a new way to read individuals' different budget types. You can find a link to download the budget template inside of the application. And if for any reason you have a struggle with that, please let me know and I can email it to you directly. When you submit it, the only column you're filling out is the estimate column. If you are awarded funding, once your event completes, then you'll submit this exact same budget template, but with the estimate and actual columns filled out. What are we looking for you to put inside of your budget? Well, We would like to know what kind of revenue your event will be generating, whether it's through sponsorship, through funds allocated through your normal practices, whether it's for volunteers. There are monetary values for volunteers, and I think that's last year's rate at $34.79. We'll double check it and make sure that you have you know exactly the right rate for 2027 if they have it reported yet. You can show where like advertising is helping support it. So like maybe through sponsorship opportunities, any other funding that you're receiving, whether it's through the city, county, feds, etc. All of that's the kind of revenue that we want to understand. We want to understand exactly how much you think that you are going to be able to spend towards your event. Again, please input in kind as well. So if you're having anything donated or time donated, we do want to associate some sort of monetary value. And the reason why we'd like to do that is because this is how we check the one-to-one match. And then we also would like you to fill out the expense side. So that's anything that goes towards producing your event, whether it's hiring security, equipment that you need, even office supplies as it relates to your event. So say you need clipboards or markers or etc. We want to have a pretty good understanding of all that you are spending money on towards your event as well. Performers, stages, balloons, anything that you think you might be spending money on towards your event, please put it in the expense column. We put a note section in that Excel sheet, so that way you can take notes for yourself and remember what you were spending it on, but also to provide more detail to the committee of what those expenses will be, because they do a very good job at reviewing these budget sheets. So here's an example budget sheet. This is an imaginary event that I just put together. It's called Tactown Art Fest. This was for last year apparently, and you can see where I just estimated some of my costs. Now, we are not expecting for the estimated column and the actual column to completely match. Nobody can foresee that far into the future how much they're going to spend on an event. I would be incredibly impressed if you did, and congratulations to you, but we are not looking at it with that kind of scrutiny. We want to get an understanding of how, like, the economy around events. How much does it cost? And then how much does it actually take? Those can be two staggering numbers. It allows us to see the changes in the way goods are priced, in the way that product is donated. It just helps us get a better understanding of how events are successfully produced in Tacoma. When you fill out the application, you will start with a lot of the basic information about your event and about your organization, and then we will get to the scored section. There are 4 scored areas, the first one being merit, which is 35 points. In the merit section, you will see 3 different questions: event content, community involvement, and new experiences. And each one are worth an allocated points. You will be able to see that in the application, how many points each one is worth. Program merit is the extent to which your event's agenda is well crafted, and it aligns with the mission of your organization and provides meaningful experiences through participation in education, celebration, and performance. The next section is access, opportunity, and belonging, and that again is worth another 35 points. There again are 3 sections to this, or 3 parts to this section: planning team and how it reflects the community, designing for access, and cultural opportunity. And these are the key areas to focus that are deeply rooted in the principles of access and reflect a systems level approach to transformation. Basically, they want to know how you're engaging with the community, how your planning team represents the community that it's serving, how you're accounting for differently abled individuals, and how you're welcoming all into your event. The third section is community impact. This is worth 20 points. Community impact measures the positive changes or contributions that an event brings to the community it serves. This includes both tangible and intangible effects on the local community or specific group of people. There again are three parts in this section: community needs, community benefits, and community support. Finally, the last section that has scored is the capacity to present the event. It's worth 10 points. This is us being able to understand that you have the ability to produce an event successfully. We don't want to give funding to an event that we know or think may not be able to execute it at the end of the day. It would be unfortunate if those funds were lost to and another organization couldn't receive them that really needed them. So we're looking at how your event demonstrates that the organization has the infrastructure, resources, and commitment to present the proposed event. So we're looking at tracking and metrics. How are you tracking? What metrics are you using to do that tracking? How are your evaluation and improvement, which is how you're taking those metrics, that data, and how are you improving on your event year after year? If this is a new event, we understand that there might not be enough data to support it, but this would be a good opportunity to talk about, again, why your event is necessary in the first place. We do require that you provide supplemental documents of your event in the past. Again, if you're a new event, provide us with any design work, any conceptual stuff, things to help the committee visually understand your event and how it needs to be supported. And then funding strategies, how you plan to go after different funding opportunities, how you plan to bring the community in to help support your event. We do have additional support for our event organizers. First is through our skill shops. These are recorded programs that bring subject matter experts about events to talk to anybody in the community who may want to learn more. We have ones on crowd control, traffic safety, sponsorship, grant writing. We do plan to provide more of these programs in the future and are even looking at having an in-person all-day session, possibly spring of 2027. City Event Services is a fairly new program to us. It launched, I believe, for the first time in 2025. City Event Services is a way to receive non-monetary support from the city that would support traffic and crowd control. This would include use of traffic equipment from our Public Works Department and then potentially use of police officers from Tacoma Police. The way to apply for this funding is through the Special Event Funding Program. So when you fill out your application, you'll get to the section that says, would you like to apply for City Event Services? And you're able to check yes or no. If your event is inside of a venue or in a park, then these services may not be relevant to your event. But if you, for whatever reason, are in the street and you're getting a special event permit, then definitely check out the ability to have these services for your event. There are two designations. One of them is a Tacoma sponsored designation. That's your ability to borrow equipment from our Public Works Department and then you deploy it during your event. The other one is a citywide designation. It's a high impact event, spans more than 7 blocks, more than 10,000 people in attendance. And this would allow for a labor aspect to be included, which would be our departments deploying the equipment. And then you can add use of TPD officers. So now that we've heard all this information, how do we apply? And what exactly do you need in order to apply? So you really need to have a basic understanding of your organization, its mission, its values, the intent of the event, and the details of your event. It does not have to be super in-depth. In fact, it can be relatively precise. I would not use the word brief because they don't want that, but it can be precise and pointed. So that way they're really getting a good understanding of your event in a paragraph or two. Be sure to submit the event budget template that was displayed earlier. Prepare narrative responses to the scored questions. And you can find those questions on the Tacoma Venues website ahead of time. So that way you can maybe write your answers down before you start on the Google form. Sometimes technology gets the best of us and things disappear. And I've always found it very helpful that I've had it perhaps in a Word document or written down first before I actually start on my applications. We need to have an understanding of the preferred date. If it's in a right-of-way or a park or a venue. And that I want to say about the date is it's a preferred date, not a hard date. We recognize that this is June of July of 2026, and this is for 2027. If your date does change once you've received funding, that's not a problem. You just got to let us know. Be sure to come prepared with samples and examples of the activities and performers and performances that you will have. If your event is in the right-of-way and you're applying for city event services, be sure to have a traffic map or traffic control plan, or at absolute bare minimum, a site map for us to review. And then if you're a nonprofit applying, please be sure to provide either your EIN number or your IRS declaration letter. We will not accept any applications that do not have one of those. Really quickly, I just wanted to go over what happens should you receive funding so that you're prepared to provide those deliverables. So once you receive funding, you'll receive a letter from me and the committee congratulating you on your award. The first step is that you'll need to become a vendor with the City of Tacoma. That's through AREBA. If you are already registered in AREBA or you are registered in SAP, then you just need to go in and make sure that all of the information is up to date. Next, you'll provide us with insurance documents. There are several different types of insurance requirements that may or may not apply to your event. We will provide you with a full list of what those are, and then you would give them to your provider, and they'll provide us a copy of insurance and a letter of additional insured. Be sure to list the city as the additional insured on your insurance, please. The next step will be going through contract review and execution. We will make sure that the information on the contract is accurate, and then we will submit that contract for signature through DocuSign. It is a virtual signature. 30 days prior to your event, you need to submit your marketing materials for review to our marketing team because there are kind of several different ways that the logo could be used depending on what other funding you're receiving from the city. So for example, if you're also receiving Tacoma Creates, there might be a certain logo for that has the city and TVE and Tacoma Creates. There's a city and a TVE logo. So we just want to make sure that you have the accurate one displayed on your marketing materials. Once your event is complete, you will submit the final report. That is another Google form, and you just upload any of the documents that we request into that form, such as your completed budget template, images of your event, and marketing material examples. Once you've done your final report, you are now able to be paid. So then you will provide me with an invoice, and I will say, okay to pay, and you'll receive your funds. Please use me as a resource. That is basically the conclusion of my presentation. You can email me at communityevents@tacomavenues.org for more information specifically about special event funding. We have several pages on our website with resources and information to talk about the committee, about the funding program, and about whatever additional services and resources our department can provide for you. So now we're going to go to Q&A session. Please drop any questions you have in the chat. I also believe you can raise your hand and we can allow for you to talk if that's your preferred method of communication. We've got Gerald standing by. Let me know if you have any questions, folks.
Yeah, we have one question, and then it says, if we plan on applying for Tacoma Arts Grant in 2027, will that be an issue?
Nope, that is one of the funding pools that has not been an issue for us to also be able to distribute funding to.
Perfect. And then another question, and I kind of answered this on the Q&A portion was, will this recording be sent out? And I just said that the recording will be available on our special event funding landing page the following day. So good for that. And then we just got a new one, and is what is the turnaround time for reimbursement?
Once you've completed all the steps and sent me the invoice, depending on your preferred method of payment that you identify in Ariba, some people prefer checks, some people prefer direct deposit. It's anywhere between 5 to 10 days.
That's it for the we have here. Of course, if anyone has any other questions, want to use the Q&A. Also, the chat is also live as well. Please write them. And then also what I'll do onto the chat as well is I'll put the landing page for the special events funding. It also has pretty much all the things that Ashley covered, including like logo guidelines, all the resources. So I will drop that in for you guys to save. So here we go. Just drop that link on the chat. So if you want to add that, you want to pin that onto your browser, that would be awesome. But yeah, other than that, Ashley, I'll just turn it back. All right, we have two more. For clarity, is this a match grant?
Yes, it is a dollar-to-dollar match grant. We do allow for several different things to be considered matches. We allow for volunteer time to be considered match. We allow for in-kind services to be considered part of your match, and any financial money that's coming through, whether it's through donations, sponsorship, or money that your organization has already set aside.
Cool. Thank you, Ashley. And then we have another question. How many organizations do you generally fund each round when this comes up? Just curious.
Yeah, we generally fund around 22 to 28 organizations every year.
Cool. Thank you, Ashley. Any more questions? Please use the chat feature or the question and answers feature portion of this.
All right, folks. Well, I don't want to take up any more of your time if you don't want me to, and that's completely understandable. I'm always here for you if you have any questions. Feel free to email me. That is the best method to reach me. You can email communityevents@tacomavenues.org. Thank you so much for being here. We're super excited to receive applications. This is a really wonderful way that we get to find out about all of the amazing things that are happening in our city, and I look forward to reading about it. Have a great day and a great afternoon. Talk to you later.